Hey, I've got a smorgasbord of new releases for you on this week's roundup, so stay tuned. Hey, everybody, this is Sean with Some Dude in Texas, and welcome back. So, like I said, we've got a lot of different types of genres and metal or rock, whatever you want to call it, for this week's roundup. So, let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first band is out of Wisconsin. They're called Carbellion. And this is a 10-track album called Weapons of Choice. Now, they've opened up for bands like, Motorhead, COC, Clutch, Black Stone Cherry, so that kind of gives you insight to what style they are. I know I normally talk about metal bands on here, but, good music is good music. And I'd say they definitely got that touch, but I would call them just real good, heavy, cause you to get speeding tickets if you're listening to it in the car, road rage, rock and roll, man. Uh, you know, some of the stuff kind of reminds me of Pat Travers, right? Kind of that snorting whiskey vibe, but, after drinking a Jolt Cola, a little bit more beefed up. And they just got good, fat, heavy guitar tones, man, killer riffs. Clean vocals, but with a little bit of stank to them. Not perfect, but a little bit of dirt to them. I mean, I really like this album, man. It's got 10 tracks on it. Every single one of them's pretty good. Now, the three songs that kind of stick out to me are Bar Fight, Pity the Backseat, Spaces. Oh yeah, the fourth one, and Origin. Now, if you get a chance, check out the video for Pity the Backseat. If you're an 80s kid like I am, or you like those 80 type movies, see if you can pick up what they're talking about. You should be able to figure it out in about the first 5 seconds. If not, within the first minute, you'll know what they're talking about. But once again, man, this is just good, heavy, kind of, I don't know, sleaze rock, but just, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe. I do think they've got some touch of metal in them. There's definitely some riffs, some heavy kind of chugging riffs that kind of remind me a little bit of some of the songs off the Metallica Black album, just that slow, heavy chunk to them. But I've gone back and listened to some of their back catalog, and it's just the same across the board. It's not broke, they're not trying to fix it. Just good, driving, hard rock with that touch of, a little bit of metal at times. But I really like it, man. It's a great album. Something that you can, jam to while you're out putzing around in the garage or out in the yard. You don't have to worry about freaking your neighbors out thinking that you're some kind of weirdo or something. It's just good, heavy, hard rock and roll, man. Check them out. All right, now the next band is out of California. They've been around a while. I've never heard of them, but I think they're kind of well known. You've probably heard of them, but it's Night Demon. And this is, looks like their fifth release, which I think it includes an EP as well. It's called Outsider, and it's got 9 tracks on it. One thing that really stuck out right away when I was looking at this was the album cover. Man, I don't know what it is. It's kind of got that 70s, 80s kind of horror movie, John Carpenter kind of vibe to it. It just really kind of stuck out. I thought it was really cool. But I went back and also listened to the back catalog on these guys as well. All the album covers are cool. But the last release they did 3 covers, one from Thin Lizzy, Iron Maiden, and Scorpions. And you can really kind of hear that influence, right, throughout this album. You can kind of hear that bluesy Thin Lizzy, but you can hear that, kind of melodic, harmonizing Iron Maiden touch as well. And then the guitar player, he throws in a lot of quick little runs and quick little, lead type riffs, a lot like the Scorpions do. Once again, this is not, I would call it, you can kind of categorize it as that new wave of British heavy metal style, but a little bit cleaner. The earlier stuff was probably a little bit more raw in the mix. This one's kind of been polished up a little bit, the guitar tones and just the mix all together. I really like it. I thought it was, pretty cool. The vocals, you keep thinking that he's going to just let it rip, man, just really break loose, but he doesn't. He kind of keeps it the same throughout every song, kind of like Thin Lizzy does, right? But once again, this is not heavy, thrash metal or death metal, but it's just good, just heavy, kind of borderline hard rock, but more of that, kind of British type heavy metal. I really dig it. It's Night Demon Outsider. Check it out. All right, now this next band is out of Greece. We're going to kick it up a notch, make it, get a little bit heavier here. But they're called Raphobia, and this is their self-titled album. This is their third release. Has 10 tracks on it. And they've been around since about 2004, but they took a break in 2006 and they started cranking it back up in 2011. This is just kind of good thrash metal with that touch of old school thrash to it. You can definitely hear like some older Metallica in it, right? Like Kill 'Em All. Man, this guitar player's got some killer downstroke skills. But you also hear a little bit newer influences, like some newer Exodus. Definitely hear some Gary Holt in the playing as well. And, I kind of got a kick out of the name Raphobia, man. There's no fear in these riffs, man. There's just killer riffs all throughout this album. Also, another cool album cover. Now, some of the songs that stuck out to me were God of Hate, Prisoner, and Soul Collector. It's got some kind of cool groove to it as well. The vocals, killer vocals on here, kind of hard to describe. Not your typical kind of thrash metal, but I like it, man. They're a little bit heavier than what you're used to when it comes to this kind of old school style death metal. But it's definitely got some it's fast tempo pace throughout the album. Once again, it's Raphobia. It's their self-titled album. I think you'll really dig it. Check it out. All right, now it's time for some heavy death metal here. Next band's out of Germany called Wilt. And this is an 8-track album. It's their second full length called Into Nothingness. And this is just good, heavy, sludgy, kind of slow to mid-tempo death metal. That HM2, man, that tone that everybody likes. One thing that kind of stuck out were the vocals, right? I think they could have been brought up a little bit. They were kind of hidden in the mix a little bit. I think if they turned it up just a notch, it would have sounded a little better. Just once again, good, heavy, kind of sludgy, old school death metal. And then some of the songs that stuck out to me on this were The Tank, The End Is Near, and Convulsive Possessions. Pretty cool, heavy stuff out of Germany. Once again, Wilt, Into Nothingness. Check it out. All right, now this last band is out of France. They're called Arthrosis, and this is Libre Septum. It's 11 tracks, and this is their first full-length album. They did do an EP back in 2017, but it looks like they've done some lineup change, and this is their first album with their, I can't even talk. This is their first album with a new lineup. But this is just good, kind of mid-tempo to fast pace, old school death metal. I don't think there was any blast beats on here. But it also has kind of a touch of, thrash to it as well. And one thing that kind of stuck out was, it has some, touch of groove metal, If you're into Pantera, you might like these guys a little bit. Some good grooves with some good heavy kind of breakdowns as well. Now, the lyric content is kind of about being a human being, life, history, and medicine. But some of the songs that really stuck out to me was The Black Hills, Don't Let Me, and Failed Attempt. And also on this one, what really stuck out was the mix on this, right? Good heavy guitars, but the vocals were more kind of out front. So it really stuck out. Heavy vocals, but you can understand what he's saying. And I think it just kind of put the bow on the package there. It's just overall killer album, good mix, heavy crushing riffs. I think you'll like it. Check it out. All right, it's time for that 1 minute review. Once again, I got 3 albums. I'm going to review them in 1 minute. So let's get started. All right, first band is out of Alabama called Iron Law. Name of it is Kaju. It's a 2-song EP. Came out last month. Kind of a crossover, but I would say it more leans towards thrash metal with that touch of hardcore. Dig the Godzilla album cover. Next band is out of New Jersey called Paralysis. And it's a 2-song EP as well called Above the Abyss. Just good, heavy thrash, but with a touch of kind of old school metal to it as well with a little bit of groove. Heavy. Check it out. Now, last band is out of Denmark. See if I can get this name right. It's Hyperdontia, and it's a 4-song EP called Derange. And I think the album cover kind of explains it well. This is good, crushing, mid to fast tempo death metal. Vocals could be blended in a little bit better, a little higher, but just also killer bluesy kind of guitar solos as well. Think you'll dig it. Check it out. All right, well, that wraps up this week's metal roundup, man. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to hit that subscribe and like button and leave me some comments. Tell me what you think. Like I said, I enjoyed talking to you guys. And then until next time, man, thanks for watching, and y'all take care.
Y'all come back now, you hear?